see if this works. All right, let's just get this thing loaded up here. Okay. All right, well, this is our first stream that we've ever actually done here. So I'll just kind of be watching the chat here and seeing what people ask for questions. And yeah, if you have any questions or thoughts, just let us know on it. This is going to be a simple little thing, and I'll go through that in a second, what we're doing here, because this is our first stream that we've ever done, and we didn't want to have the bar too high, just because problems can happen, and this is an alpha build of our product, something we've been working really hard on for a long time. So yeah, we'll get into it. So make sure everyone can hear properly and actually see what we've got going here so far. And if everything's all good to go, then we're just going to go ahead and get started here. So anyway, Origins of Malu. Just kind of a quick little history here, just for the people who, you know, come here and haven't actually had a chance to see what we've been about and what we're going for here. Origins of Malu started out probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and essentially we had a lot of things that we had planned for. We had fantastical ideas, and you know, we were just kind of dreaming. So we've been developing it for 4 years. We had to switch engines for a couple of reasons, and we won't even bother getting into that now. But at the end of the day is we've ended up here with Factions, which is essentially a prequel prototype version of Origins of the Malu. What we're doing here with Factions is it's just basically it's a chance for us to kind of put our environment into almost like a test area, so we can really focus in on abilities, skills, combat, all that other fun stuff in a simple little battleground. This is still an MMO. This is just going to be basically exclusively what we're going to put out for early access when we get through green light here. So people have a chance to be able to get into kind of the basically 2 battlegrounds while we basically put the finishing touches and finish off the MMO, but they're going to have a chance to play the game, give us feedback, and more importantly, just have fun with it. It won't be the full sandbox at first, just during the early access period, but in 2015, you know, they will have a chance to actually see the full-blown MMO. So that's something we're really excited about. Going on here just a little bit and actually getting into some of the questions here, and I refreshed the channel here, and unfortunately I lost, actually, oh, here it goes. Yeah, I had lost the ATS guy's questions here in terms of what it is. So he asked, I believe, how many people are working on this game. At our peak, we've had about 90 people plus working on this team when we had the MMO. I mean, we've been working on this for a long time. Obviously, in a large open world sandbox type game, you can't just, I mean, you need a lot of assets, you need a lot of resources, you need a lot of time. I just been told I gotta boost my mic here just a little bit, so sorry, just bear with us, because this is the first time stream, and I want to make sure that this goes respectable. And it's already maxed out. Anyway, so we have about 90 people working on the team. We're always looking for anybody to help us here. We've always been a small, unfunded indie company. We're down to a much smaller group now because we found that to be a lot more manageable. But before I battle on too much further, let's talk a little bit about what we're looking at here in the map and what we have for the siege map here. So right now, what we got here, we're inside the siege map, and I've just dropped this inside here. Our wonderful little character here is Mr. Mailjola. He's basically a telekinetic being. I mean, the closest you could kind of put him to would be almost like a monk-like type creature. He has 3 eyes. He mostly, you know, his communications through telepathy and all that other fun stuff. So he's an interesting character. A lot of his skills and abilities are basically attached to his mental consciousness and a whole bunch of other fun stuff here. But he's a very interesting character. So we're running around Siege here, and just a quick note about today's presentation here is this is going to be just like a single little run around for the this is gonna be a single just running around the map and looking at some abilities and showing off some of our features. This later on this week, probably Wednesday-ish, and we'll put it up directly on our Greenlight page and our forums and all that other stuff like that. We'll put the full combat and everything in with everyone playing in it here. So I'll be honest, I won't make an excuse. We had just a couple of minor issues before we started here, so we intended actually having some multiplayer stuff, but that fell through. And that's how it goes in alpha building. So anyway, what you're running around now is a siege map here. And so this is basically the siege map is actually a very, very large map. And for the people who actually used to play World of Warcraft back in the day, one of the things that we're going for with just this particular battleground, because we've never really been wanting to focus in on battlegrounds before. We wanted to focus in on, a large open world. So when we decided to change our scope and do this, we decided that, what we were going to do is, we'll do a small little mini battleground just to give people a taste, as I've kind of said that already. So this is going to be kind of like, the siege mode is going to be kind of like AV, where you have, some areas that you need to dominate, take controlling of certain areas, and, just basically fight your way up the map. The map is somewhat linear in that sense, just particularly for this map, where what we really liked back in the old days was if you played like version 1, say, just of AV, just as an example, you could actually you get in these gigantic turtle fests, or you'd fight back for territory, and you get pushed all the way back to your end base, and then you find a way to push your way all the way back and win it. But in some of these games would go on for hours and hours and hours. This game is actually meant to go on for there's no time limits on any of these battleground games, so they can go on as long as you want them to. And the goal is to actually have a big, massive game that's super long. So it's something we're really excited about here. So I'm just going to kind of just run around a little map and talk about and maybe show you some abilities and just talk about some characters and answer any questions in the meantime. As I said, this is our first stream, my first stream too, ever done, so, something you're not accustomed to doing. And we're going to look at kind of the different areas of the siege maps to kind of give you an idea, both tactically, strategically, and also just some of the eye candy that's went in so far. Now keep in mind, a lot of this stuff here is still in development. Where there's going to be creatures in this map, there's more assets coming in. We've just currently in the process right now of bringing all the assets of our previous engine into Unreal now. So, I mean, we've gotten a lot over, but we're also finding that everything we bring in, we're basically rebuilding. And this isn't, don't worry, I'm not going to just run around here forever. I'm going to actually find some stuff to destroy here. But there will be creatures in the world while the game is going on. There's going to be little mini things and mini games going on inside the map in itself, and there'll be lots of fun stuff here. And I see we're up in the top part of the mountains here. One thing, the map is gigantic. This is a gigantic map, so it's not a small map. I think it's a lot larger than, say, something like AV would be. And I'm actually going to go to one of our bases and show you some of the Destructibles here right now. So we're just going to do a quick little standby and switch it over here. When we're speaking of large things here, where we're actually thinking, oh, hold on. Wrong button. When we're speaking of large battles, we're thinking more of I mean, right now we got some stuff to test, but this is going to be hundreds of people. Hundreds of people. We want it to be large. And keeping in mind that the battlegrounds themselves are, they're temporary. You're going to be in the open world doing this stuff in an open, dynamic way. It's not going to be like, say, Warhammer, where you had all these fixed siege points where you had to go and take over them and you could build them up, but they were fixed. Your territory is going to be dynamic in Origins of Mallow. So you'll be able to place faction markers throughout the map and dynamically control territory. Say if you had 2 servers, neither of those 2 servers would look the same in terms of what territory looks like and what factions would be owning them. And one thing we actually, way back in the day, but for people who have just kind of found out about us here, is that there could be 3 or 4 factions, or there could be 2, or there could be 1 dominant one, and then you have to rebel up against that faction. So the dynamic gameplay in that sense is something that we've always really wanted to focus on. I'm gonna find some stuff to destroy. I should have actually just went straight into the editor on this one and jumped around. But we're just going to run up this hill here, and you'll actually have a chance to see some of the Destructibles. Now, we're in the process of also implementing Destructibles all throughout the map. Most rocks, most static objects, you're going to be able to just shoot them and destroy them, and they'll crumble and all that other fun stuff. None of this is preset animations, it's all to physics, and we're doing a lot of little cool things with that. One thing that we will be demoing soon, once we just got to sort out a couple of things that we're bringing over, is the destructible armor side. So if someone, say, shoots you on the left shoulder, and your left shoulder blade will actually, your armor will actually destroy itself. So you'll show battle damage. Your characters will show battle damage as they fight. And it's something that's we're really excited about, and we just can't wait to show it off here. I'm almost to an area here where we can shoot some stuff, and then maybe I'll go down to the lower part of the map here. You know what? In terms of dynamic safeguards, now there's a couple things. This is actually a topic that we discussed a long time ago in great detail here. In terms of safeguards, we really didn't want to put limits on the game. I mean, there's going to be tools. Just give you an example here. So say you have one gigantic, super powerful faction which has everybody, like just literally has everybody, and you have this small kind of guild that comes to a server and wants to have their own faction on it. We're going to give them the tools to rebel and grow and have a chance to somehow take over this faction, but we're not going to make it easy. It's going to be hard. We're trying to basically mimic life, I guess you could say, in that sense. So we don't want to put a bunch of handicaps and this and that, and oh, well, this big faction, these guys need a chance. If you really want to take over that server, you have to do it. So, yeah. References to Ashen's Call. Well, that does actually, Ashen's Call and Ashen's Call 2, and depending on what side of the fence you're on that debate, is actually when one of our games that was our go-to games back in the day. Something about the open world of Ashen's Call 2 is something that we really appreciated. So, I guess I could go more to the other stuff. I mean, most of actually, to be honest, about some of our other references have been mostly related to like Call of Duty and Red Alert 2, and just, I mean, it goes back a long time. The only reason we use WoW sometimes is just a good example. A lot of people, it's a general stuff. If I started referencing a bunch of stuff at Ashen's Call 2, most people don't know what that is. So, and Warhammer, yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it was one of the, when we started playing this game, we started developing this game, I stopped working on stuff, so, just basically developing the game. So don't worry about that, because this is not a theme park, it's all good. Yeah, it was definitely up there. So we're just approaching the base here right now. I'll show you some of the damage here. I mean, obviously this stuff is meant to be siege. You can see as I shoot this, things are breaking apart. And just as an example. Now, you're not going to be able to do that, per se, as a character, to destroy someone's base that easily. But, we're just, we're just playing around up here. So it's all good. Just a tad, eh? But the point is these walls, they're all going to be tuned in terms of how much you can fire on them and all that stuff like that. They'll be able to take power. Now, in the Battleground game, obviously those will be fixed things, but in the MMO, you'll be able to increase the power of your walls, the strength of your walls, how much damage they'll take, a whole bunch of fun stuff like that. Different types of walls, and there will be some aspect of building piece by piece as well, depending on what version you're in. So actually, I'm going to go to the bottom part of this map here. I didn't mean to start up way at the top here. But you have a chance to actually see some of the stuff here. So there's basically 3 or 4 different eco types too in the siege map. There's a snow area. There's some water and stuff like that. And there's like the deep forest sides, and then there's the base parts. So you have a chance to play around that. And I should have used the word eco type. Yes, exactly. The damage does scale. Exactly scales at how long you charge. So there's some big choices for that, because it's like it allows you to like tactically control the distribution of your power. So the longer you burn your power, you'll run out of energy. So if you want to be like the glass cannon, hang back and fire off gigantic nukes, that's all fine and dandy. But if you're running with people, because if you notice that targeting in this game there's no tab targeting at all. So I mean, if you're chasing somebody and firing at them, you want to do short bursts. You can't just stand there and do it. So it definitely scales. We have some plans for some overcharge abilities too as well. If you, we got a really cool idea. I shouldn't talk about that now because that's more of a version 2 thing. But yeah, thanks you. Quick answer, yes, it does scale. And actually, I'm going to just quickly switch over to the editor here, and just so I can jump down, because you guys don't want to watch me run down the mountain for 15 minutes, because that would be boring as hell. You get to see the Unreal editor here that we're working in, so make it feel more real. But let's take a little quick look, fly through, and get down to our base part. Just to give you an idea, sense of idea of just how big this map is. This map is rather large, but we're gonna go down into the base here, and let's just start here. Yes, there is friendly fire, to answer your question. We actually have some plans for some buffs and all that other fun stuff. And what you're looking at is, don't worry about any of these debug screens. I originally was gonna hide it out and whatever, but for now, whatever. We'll just do it like this, because that is how we roll. All right, let's get that. Let's get rid of that editor here. All right, so yeah, there will be friendly fire, but we'll have buffs to basically avoid that. So, oh yeah, I should check out a couple other different characters. So ability-wise, we can just talk about abilities for a couple of different seconds here, and here's one example. Now, some of these abilities right now, they're just in here for testing, but let's preview the beam abilities here. So I'm just hanging out as a jewel on the bottom, and I'll switch to the toll John here, and we're gonna do just a nice little essence draw, and oh, and I'm out of energy already from running. The beam abilities are interesting because you're going to be able to actually direct the beams and cut through things. If people run in front of you, they're going to get cut down. The beams also are very expensive on energy, very, very expensive on energy. They're very powerful too, though, so you got to make sure you have a lot of energy. There will be in and out of combat states, just as a side note. So obviously when you're out of combat, you'll regen energy faster, and when you're in combat, you'll regen slower. So a lot of that stuff too will be in there. Let's see here, we can do a good burn now on this here, so you have a chance to actually see us cutting the wall down. So I just gotta wait till I get a little bit more energy here. There'll be defensive abilities. We talk about like some of the shields and stuff like that. There'll be directional shields, fully encompassing shields, mitigation shields. We will have the buffs, the debuffs, all that fun stuff. Healing will be targeted. There's no more like just kind of clicking on stuff and okay, I'm just gonna heal this guy randomly. You'll have indicators of your team and all that stuff, but you'll be able to, there's going to be a couple different types of healing. Gerald, actually, our lead developer, you walked through that in the forums here, but you'll have beam type heals, you'll have projectile based heals, you'll have AoE where you fire something on the ground, people will be able to heal on that sense. It's more like your Call of Duty in that sense, and less like an MMO, because it's not just tabbing and healing. You actually have to be, a skilled healer. All right, we're almost up to full here. This is actually a rather fun one to use. As you can see, you just cut through stuff. So yeah, lots of fun with the Destructibles. It'll be, as I said, but I've also burned through all my entire energy there. So we're a lot of balancing and stuff like that going. Now buffs will have a limited duration, of course. It's not just going to be a buff once and run away, but they're also going to be a lot more strategic based. It's not going to be like, so like, now we're talking about Astron's Call. How about I bring in the Astron's Call stuff where you had like people buff bots back in the day, they just set their character there and you walk up to them and he buff you. I mean, the buffs are going to be a lot more strategic and tactical in that sense. So, but not to the point where you have to micromanage them either, because that would just be annoying. So, not a lot of fun here. We ran around as the Jola here long enough. I think maybe we could switch up the characters here, show you some of the other abilities. We are still working on. We're still working on our GUI elements, and we're fixing a lot of stuff here, but just give you a chance to see like the different abilities. We're trying to like basically have things look a little bit different. It's not something that happens fast here, but we should be done all of this, the entire Battlegrounds with the basic 5 abilities, and then for the getting people in here for early access, all that stuff will be done by January. So it'll be lots of fun here. Oh yeah, no, there's gonna be lots of Destructibles. Debuffs, absolutely. Debuffs will be a definitely big component of this game. Debuffing energy levels, other types of really strange debuffs that people haven't quite seen yet, which I won't talk about until they're actually working. But debuffs and buffs, I mean, they're going to play definitely a big part in how you play. So, as I said, this week here, probably like Wednesday, and as I said, we'll get it up there, but you'll have a chance to actually, see what this actually looks like in a full combat environment. And I'll show you the faction notes here too. This is so ghetto how I'm doing this. So, so classes are class systems. So I'm glad you asked that because that's important. The prototype MMO side of it, it's the prototype battleground version of this, just basically early access alone. You will have some pre-built classes. We don't like that. We don't like saying that, but just for grace of ease and getting it out there a little bit faster, you will have some loadout characters. They won't be classes per se, but they'll be built out with characters that are geared with certain intentions. The MMO side, version 2, is purely classless. You build everything. What we've tried to do is try to get rid of the Holy Trinity to the best of our ability. Basically heal, DPS, and damage, right? Or tank, heal, DPS. And we really wanted to create was something where, because the AI, everything links back to it. The battles you fight, everything kind of comes back to it. So you're going to be able to build your own characters exactly how you want. So you could have it's going to be a lot of hybrids. If you want to be a tank, you'll still be able to be a tank if you want to be. But there will be no tank class you choose from. You just build out your character that's geared toward those abilities. Same thing goes, but I imagine there'll be a lot of hybrids, because if you want to be a purist, you're going to have to be really specialized for it. And the AI, any of the bosses, or even because you're mostly going to be fighting each other. There definitely be a PvE side to this, but the AI is geared towards, they're not scripted fights. The AI learns. The AI learns and watches how you fight, and it evolves off itself. So doing strategies and getting all that stuff together will be extremely hard. Because he's going to be changing how he battles all the time, and it's not going to be just tank and spank type battles, that's for sure. In terms of flavor of the month builds, it's going to be really hard for that to happen. Obviously people will post their builds, and we can't promise anything. We'd be stupid if we did. I imagine that could happen still. We're trying to, when you're building skills, and as I said, the skill system that's going in, it's there on the back end. The GUIs are still to be brought in. We had it in their old version where you had the skill tree where you dealt in the thousands of points, and that's how we're like Ashton's Call in one sense, where you have thousands and thousands of builds and you scale up and you can add augments to skills. And that still may exist a little bit, but we're trying to we don't want necessarily, if people like a certain thing and that people want to copy it, that's fine, but how will that, it's going to be more depth to your play style versus a build's not going to be the defining factor here. Because everything's targeted, because everything's aimed. You could have two guys with the exact same armor, the exact same build. Whoever's better is going to win, right? And then that does come to play more so, when you're targeted, you're aiming, you're running around stuff. So, changing your build without cost, there will be some penalties to that. You'll be able to change some stuff, but we have some plans for some penalties for that, just so you don't have people, changing their build every 10 seconds. Let's take a look at here. I'll just show you what the Toljan kit. Let's check out the Toljan here. Toljan female. These are just our debug screens once again, and let's see. We'll put some clothes on her. She'd appreciate that. So I don't know if you remember the Toljan female from back. Oh, I should show the dodges here. We have some interesting dodges and stuff like that, and a whole bunch of fun stuff here. So, and sounds haven't been. I think I have sounds muted right now. So as I said, today's just a basic kind of just run through the world. Let's see how a Twitch stream goes for us, and then we'll get everybody into the game, and you'll actually see actual battles take place, and that will be the fun part. But we just wanted a chance to preview basically what these people look like, and just take a look at the world and the game. And this engine's, I mean, obviously, this isn't even a final what you're looking at. It's only going to get better from here because we're working on this daily. There are weapons. The weapons we have the weapons, but they're just not connected yet. So there will be weapons, staffs. You know, basically like there's lots of different types of weapons. I mean, yeah, staffs, blades. A lot of the stuff is energy based, and I'll go back to the Toljo on this example because different characters have different types of weapons. The Jola males is an example, and I'll just do the bone armor on him. A lot of his stuff is projected. Same with the Kulinta actually. So like blades will glow out of him. So they're projections. So there's their traditional physical weapons, and then there's a lot of stuff that's like customized to the ability. And those are things that you'll be able to customize way down the road here, but you will be able to customize them. So yeah. So those are blades. Kulinta, and we just got to get a couple more of his abilities, and they're not polished enough to show but they, you know, I don't want to show them in half development. But the Kulinta has projections of his entire being, and the Kulinta will be a fun one. And that's the furry little guy here. And just in case anyone hasn't seen the Kulinta here. And yeah, look at he's a little bit broken right now to himself. So, but that's okay. He's this little feral guy. So lots of love. And this is kind of strange with the stream being behind everything I'm saying right now. So we're just running around with the Kulinta. Give him some, maybe show you a couple of what some of his armors will look like here. Let's actually put some armor on this guy. We'll do the, those are just development names too, by the way. So yeah, that's just kind of a basic, kind of quick look on some of our characters here. And we'll be definitely be sure to get into a stream of a full combat stream, and you'll be able to see a lot more of the abilities in their full glory here. I think we actually have a Gorguda up here. There might be an Azstalker, so you can see some of these creatures too as well. And shouldn't test stuff for the first time here in Engine Live. Let's see, yeah. So that actually kind of works. That's good. It'll all be unique. And it will be lucky mobs. I mean, this is going to be mostly world. We don't want to put people in a situation where you have to go poop socking through gigantic long raids where, you know, only a couple people get some stuff. I know things have changed in WoW, and I haven't played that actually recently. But in terms of like the loss drops, a lot of stuff's going to be randomized. A lot of stuff's going to be vanity based. It will be more skill based, but there definitely will be some stats. But at the end of the day, you are relying mostly on skill. But there will be a lot of vanity stuff. And that's really the direction we want to go. I mean, stuff that you've accomplished that shows that you've accomplished it. But the same token, one thing that always bothered me about some games is that, you know, it takes a whole team to get somewhere, and only a couple people get rewarded for that. And that never really... Going in a direction where everybody gets a reward if they take part in something is definitely a direction we want to go in, and not just to force you to do the same thing over and over and over again. Where we want to push people more to the open world and spend their time trying to basically fight for the world versus you know, just doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, there is some elements of that, but yeah. What else could I talk about? We're staring at Mr. Chochobi here now. So the Chochobi here, the two gameplays for these battlegrounds. One we've said is going to be siege domination, and I ran away from the faction marker, and I should have actually went there and actually showed you the more destructible stuff, and I will in a second. But the Chochobi is actually going to be part of another game, and this little guy in front of us here, he's going to be part of a game called Capture the Chochobi. So in the swamps, and another map will show, and we'll show that next week too as well, or as we get it developed a little bit more further. But we have some screenshots in our Greenlight page, and there's some concept art, and also some screenshots of it on our site. You have to capture him, run with him, and essentially you take him back, and it's like capture the flag, but he will squirm out, he'll run away, and you can throw him to your friends. And we'll demo that too, but that'll be really fun. One of our older characters, Little Choopy here. This guy will just fall around and look at you and do weird stuff, but yeah, he's an interesting guy. So we're just running. I think we have it as a stalker up here. Or actually this direction we have the Goruga, I think, unless I've deleted him out of the map. But as I said, this is just penalty for death in PvP. Now there's a couple things there that we're going to talk about further when it comes to looting and PvP loot. So I'm gonna save that question for down the line. But because it's a little bit different, because we've decided it's going to be a little bit of a hybrid system. It's not going to be too, and I don't want to use the word Care Bear, but it's going to be a nice blend between them both. And whether that works or not will be early testing and community feedback will drive a lot of that. Would be my best answer for that. There's Mr. Goruga hanging out there here. A nice little scene there. Exactly, moving a flag that doesn't want to be captured. The flag will run away from you. He will run away from you, and if he squirms, he'll run really far away. So it's almost like capture the greasy pig in a way, but you can throw the pig at your friends. So it'll be interesting. But I'm going to run back to the base and show the faction marker and talk a little bit about the dynamic land capturing and all that stuff like that. And we'll probably get other developers here to do these streams as well, just in case you're bothered by my way of doing it. People are probably a little more experienced with it. Actually, we could hold on to Toljan Mail here too, because we haven't showed. Let's just change into our Toljan Mail. Actually, we'll do that. So the Toljan male, basically this is like the Toljan species, and I have the Toljan female on there. He's, as I said, some of these animations are still being fixed, so don't mind that right now. It's just a temporary thing. But he's basically the big brute of the Toljan race, where they're basically female red, and lots of stuff. Oh, this is all still a battlefield in here. Yeah, it's definitely still a battlefield. The main world, and this is the thing, is we don't want to confuse it. There's the two battlegrounds, and then there's the MMO. The battlegrounds are only to test. It's basically some gameplay that you guys can play and you can enjoy and test out some of the mini systems. It's like a mini Malu Lite while we finish off and polish up the actual MMO side of it. So that's what I want to be. This map is, as I said, this map is large. Just the battleground's large. Malu itself, and you're not on Malu, you're on Zeta, which is, you know, that there's some story and some lore that goes into there, which you'll learn about later on. Jump looks silly right now. We'll be fixing some of this stuff up. But yeah. Strange only having one-way conversations. Let's check out take a quick look at the Jola female, since no one's seen her. Jola female armor. We'll do the bone on her. We're gonna go shoot some stuff. Go shoot the faction markers and show what they're about. And I'm probably gonna leave this as a nice little short moment thing here, so. But yeah, as I said in the beginning, we've been developing this bad boy here for a long time. And we've probably been in Unreal for only about 5 months, and we already have a working full build here. All of our systems are being developed in and I just lost my train of thought, but they're all being developed here. Yeah. Anyway, faction markers here. So these are basically what you destroy. So the goal of the point is to protect your own and shoot the other ones. So these faction markers, you destroy it. Once you destroy it, it respawns and becomes your own. In Malu, what's going to happen is you're going to have to basically take construction kits out to places in the world to build them and then defend them. They'll also work off each other, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. This would be a very long stream if I went into this stuff, but basically these are meant to be destroyed. and they get bigger, and they have defensive capabilities in the battleground. They will not. They're just simple, destroy them and protect them. I'm just going to change back to the Jola Mail here real quickly here. And we'll just do this. But these are destructible too as well. So all base assets, and I just totally broke it. That's okay though, because it happens. We'll destroy this and then we'll end it off and we'll get into some more detailed stuff, because we'd rather show stuff than just talk about it, because that's no fun. And I'm out of energy. So this takes a little bit of more damage, and then it'll slowly start breaking apart. And there's about 35 abilities in right now. Overall, there's probably about 90. So there's a lot of abilities, and there'll be more as we develop more into it as well. And keep in mind, there's a lot of non-combat abilities too as well, but we'll go into that, as I said, at a later time, because we'd rather show it than just talk about it. But as you see, as you destroy it, I mean, none of this stuff is set pre, it's all damage. And it all falls apart. So just simple destructibles. I mean, obviously it's not, it's just fun. Yeah, currently, you'll have different bars you can switch to. So you'll be able to, you can slot it. I mean, there's no limitation currently on bars. So you can have different builds, different build out slots. And we're going to be obviously making the GUI a little bit more utilitarian in the sense where you can change how many you have on your bar and how it operates and all that fun stuff. There you go. there's a nice bug for you. I see. Oh, that's why I'm running out of energy. In your chart, your dash is obviously tied to energy as well. So any other questions here before we end this off? As I said, small, simple. This is just a test of us streaming as well. We'll have everybody on fighting and all that other fun stuff this week, and I'm going to stop saying fun stuff. And yeah. Basically, if you haven't already, and if you're here, you've probably already voted for us. Just let us keep on voting up, and we'll get through green light and get into early access. And yeah, it'll be lots of fun. We actually have a chance to play it. The builds are not based on linear path at all. It's very open. We have a circle thing, and we'll go through that. We'll go through that in the next one. But the builds are definitely not linear. They're built off you. As I said, when you choose your abilities, you'll start in a circle and you'll go out from that circle. So just imagine a circle, and you can go many different ways out through that circle. Yeah. You know what? Oh no, I'm on this computer. Maybe we'll paste up in our forums. Actually, if you go to our forums, I'll find the link here, but we'll post it in the chat here. But there's an old forum post showing exactly how that works. It's an older GUI, keep in mind, but we built this game like twice already, so yeah, that's all good. We don't mind. It's better to keep things small at first. That's what I say. Keep it small, and then next time we'll do something a little bit bigger and go there, because obviously this is new to us. Anyway, so that's basically it for me. I'm gonna cut this off here. Any other questions, we'll answer some stuff in chat and we'll go from there. But thanks for watching, and we'll put up some more stuff this next week. We'll do a full battle example, and that's when things won't be broken. So, but that's the fun with it being an alpha, right? So it's all good. Anyway, and yeah, no, as I said, when we get, well, as I said, we'll be announcing more. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much.